So another little update, and it's actually on these. So they're COB LEDs, and they're just a very small linear strip of LEDs, and come in different lengths. They're the ones used in fancy filament style lamps. These were the shortest I could get, which were I think 18.5 millimeters, and I kind of worked on the idea of 18.5 close to 4 foot in 00. The overall sort of yellow package is, yeah, actually a good bit smaller than that. So either I've ordered the wrong size, or more likely eBay have sent me the wrong size. The idea is to use them as a filament light. I've tried to see if they are flexible, and the answer is no, but the little tags on the end are, so at least can sort of shorten it a bit. Having made the LED quite short, as I say, I think what they've done is 18.5 millimeters from end to end, which is kind of annoying. One of the ends has a little hole, and it is, from memory, the anode. So if I put it in with the meter, you get the light. Obviously it runs at a low brightness because it's a limited current out of the meter, but 2.5 volts, so that's the sort of the forward voltage. It also, however, means that the actual sort of working light was about that width. Metal gauge isn't the easiest. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. So it's probably only about 6 mil of LED strip, which is a little shorter than I would hope. And that goes in comparison to a sort of traditional LED, which again only works forwards, and you get 1.6 volts, so much lower voltage to get them to illuminate, but then it's a single point as opposed to quite a nice linear strip. So the plan is to solder on some tags, fold the legs round, put probably a 1 or 2k resistor on it to run off 12 volts, and then 3D print a little housing and see what it looks like. But you know, it does definitely give the right out look. It's just now trying to make it better, and also knowing that the sold lengths are from end to end and not of the actual LED part, I know that I probably am looking for one that's closer to 30 mil, and that'll give me another 10 mil of LED. So let's go and see some solder and we'll see what happens. Okay, so nothing like a little sketchy test rig. So 12 volt power supply, switch mode power supply. I've just soldered a couple of tails onto the LEDs, and I'm just running it through a couple of resistors. I used the Wagos just so that I could easily switch in and out things, but if I stick that one in, you can see, get a nice light, slightly brighter on the downside, but the package does sort of carry some light around, but that's probably as bright as I would want to run it, because ultimately at the end of the day, any brighter and it'll just be a glaring mass. The two resistors in series, they're 1.3 kiloohms each, so 2.6 kiloohms and 12 volts. And what we'll do is try and get what the current draw is. Right, so just a quick rewire off camera. Negative wire into the positive of the lead on the meter. Socket changed across. Must remember to change that back, because otherwise put it on a voltage and you blow the fuse, which is very easy done. DC milliamps, and I'll just touch it to that. So there we go, 3.67 milliamps. So obviously running way below what it's rated for, but I think if I drop it up any higher, it'll just be so bright. I might try, I might take 1 kiloohm out and we'll try that. Okay, so just swapped 1 kiloohm resistor out. Those are quite, might be 1 watt resistors, they're quite chunky. And I've put in a 300 ohm, so now 1.6 kiloohms give or take. And slightly brighter, up to 5.8 milliamps. And actually, if I touch it to there, I can go up to 1.3. So I can probably get away with the 1.3. I think the next test will be to try that in the station or a building, just to see what sort of illumination it gives. As I say, by the time I build a little housing around it, I want it to still be a visible light source rather than just being a big blinding sun. But 7 milliamps, that's okay. So the next thing is try and design up a little 3D printed enclosure. It's obviously going to be quite small, but we'll do that and then see what it looks like. So here we are back again. Last night, did a little quick 3D print. So that's just a very, very simple shape. It is slightly chamfered and stuff. And then inside it's sort of a slightly wider groove at the top, just to give me a little bit more space for soldering and wires. I had really wanted to try and get the LED, space for it in, or not the LED, because that definitely needed to fit, but for the resistor. So then the cable coming out was direct to 12 volts. But certainly in this iteration wasn't possible. Didn't spend too much time looking at it, and we'll just have to see what capacity or what wattage of resistor I really need, because obviously like that 330 is probably half a watt and is quite small, and the bigger one is, I guess, 1 watt and quite chunky. But obviously they are dissipating quite a lot of heat, and I don't want something that's going to run hot. An awful lot of LED things, ultimately you have a resistor at the end of the cable rather than in the fitting, so for this one it's not too bad. Dimension wise, yeah, it's 6 mil across, so it's 1.5 foot in 00. So it's a really wide light, given that a double fluorescent tube fitting is probably about 6 inches across in real life. 15 mil long, so yeah, close to a 4 foot, but just a bit wide. I probably could make it slightly smaller, but it's one of those things of wanted to be reasonably robust. That's the one that I have the LED sort of glued in, and again I had thought, I'll be fancy, I'll print a clear lens diffuser for it, which would allow me to change the sort of profile, but again, in the size that we're working in, it's just a fiddly detail that probably wasn't necessary, and I couldn't be bothered trying to change the resin and print it out. Right. So that's it on, and as you can see, part of the problem with that 1.3K is it is fairly bright, certainly to the camera. By the naked eye you get a little bit better, you know, sort of the actual strip of light, and then, you know, it gives quite a nice light. The other thing, obviously, I probably need to paint the inside or the outside of the casing just to try and, you know, which would focus it a little bit more. I did not expect it to be quite so, you know, glowing, but overall I think that will do what I want it to do. So that's, you know, an option. So we'll crack on and see what it looks like. I'll see if I can fit it into the underpass bit of the station platforms, which is where lighting is needed, and it's just going to be how I cable it all together. But okay, hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, as I say, I'm going to try and be a little bit more proactive and, you know, show along as we go.